He was the president of the student government. Currently working with a council member, has worked with Mayor Garcetti. If you keep backing up, like James is just like found a trajectory. I think he found his purpose and he found his pathway and he's going big places. So who knows where he's going to land, but he's just been on this beautiful trajectory. So I want you to welcome James Ingram, my friend from Akron, Ohio.
I grew up, my dad was a musician, so I pretty much took lead after him. I started making beats when I was like 7 years old, no exaggeration. There was a group called Crisscross that inspired me. I was like, other kids can do it, why can't I? So throughout my life, I made beats. I also had different passions like playing video games and playing basketball and just hanging out with friends, watching movies, stuff like that. How I ended up in Los Angeles, I was doing a music production deal in Atlanta, Georgia for 5 years. And in 2012, when my contract ended, I said, you know what, if I can do it in Atlanta, why not try to do it in California, in LA? So I was like, I'm coming to LA, I'm gonna work with local acts and then expand to those industry artists. And then how I ended up at LACC. So there was an election, 2016. Anybody know who won that election? That's right. So when I saw that, I wasn't involved in politics at all. And I was like, what can I do to not be on the sidelines commentating and actually become part of the solution? So I said, if he gets inaugurated, I'm gonna go back to school. So what I did was, once he got inaugurated, I went to Google and I typed in colleges in LA. And then I came across LACC. It's like one of the first schools that popped up. So I started looking at, what they had, what programs they had. I started looking at the names of people who actually went here, who actually graduated. Some of them names. Anybody familiar with Morgan Freeman? Mark Hamill, Star Wars, right? MC Hammer, can't touch this. So there was a few people that I was like impressed by, like, oh my gosh, these people went to this school. And it's called Los Angeles City College, so it's like, it has LA in the name. So automatically I was already attracted. And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and do it. So I ended up going to admissions, signing up. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where to start, but I just knew that I had to go to the school and talk to some people. So they told me I had to get my transcripts and all that good stuff, and I ended up doing it. I did try to go to college when I graduated high school, which was 2003, way back in the day. And I tried to go right after because my mom was like, you gotta go to college, you gotta go to college. And I was like, okay. So I went, and it just wasn't for me. And I was so passionate about music at that time that it just wasn't the right time. So those grades, when I went, I dropped out, but I didn't withdraw. So some of them grades stayed on my transcript, which I'll get to later, my college experience. So when I started going to LACC, I was, as I mentioned, I didn't know what was going on. I just knew that I had to pass my classes. That's all I knew. And I started speaking up in class and making friends and talking to different people, and then different opportunities start presenting themselves. So they were like, hey, you ever thought about being part of the student government? I said, you know what? I did say I'm coming to school to get, involved, so yeah, let's try it. That was one thing. 2, speech team. Somebody said, you ever thought about becoming part of the speech team? I was like, yeah, let's try it. When those opportunities presented themselves, other opportunities presented themselves that, I guess, guided me to the career that I'm in now. There was also the opportunity for internships. I interned with Mayor Garcetti at the time, and I went to different events, met different people. So when, I'm gonna get to that later on too, but that opened up the doors for where I am now. I spent a lot of time studying. That meant reading different classes from political science to history to, writing. That went to writing papers. So I had to write a lot of papers. And that's not only for classes, but it's also for scholarships. Because they're gonna have like money opportunities where you can get like $500, $1,000 that they actually just give you a check for. And then there's also office hours. So you're gonna be talking with professors, just to make sure that, you are doing what you're supposed to be doing, making sure you're keeping up with the assignments and making sure your grades are up to par, and also your advisors too. You want to make sure you're taking the right classes. You don't want to just be taking any classes. So that's something else to keep in mind. And there's also personal life. So I mentioned that I'm passionate about playing video games and basketball, and I wanted to make sure that I was still doing that and not just stressing myself out on what my grades look like. Some of my challenges were working full-time and being a full-time student. Also, I'm not from here, so not really having family around, like that support system. But as student government progressed, as my internship progressed, I found out that they don't call these community colleges for no reason. From the janitors, all the way up to the president, faculty, to everybody, and Christy can attest to this, as we were walking through the campus, everybody still supportive to this day, smiling, saying what's up. My man Arsh in the back, you know what I mean? Like everybody was just so supportive, and it made me feel like I was actually part of the family. So that's one thing that I gotta point out about LACC. If you ever decide to go to any community college, you come here, they're gonna make sure they support you to help you become the best version of yourself and reach your fullest potential. Who's heard of imposter syndrome?
Yeah.
Okay, so would anybody be willing to come up and share what they think imposter syndrome is? Anybody? Come on.
My name is Sarah. So imposter syndrome is basically like the feeling of not feeling like you belong in a college, like you feel like you don't belong here, or just feeling like you're an imposter, like you're here just to be here, but you feel like you don't have a purpose here.
Exactly. Let's hear it for Tara. That was what I was experiencing once I graduated from LACC and when I was in my internship program. So I mentioned that those grades, when I tried to go to college after high school, stayed on my transcript, I was like, there's no way I'm getting into any school, actually. I was like, I hope I can get in somewhere, but if I can't, you know what, associate's degree is good enough for me. You know what I mean, I'll make it work. But and I wasn't going to apply to these schools either, but because of the support from the faculty and staff here, from Brenda, our now Dean, Dr. Derogishian, and just other individuals, they were like, no, you never know, just apply. And I was like, okay. So I applied, and I ended up getting into USC, which was one of the biggest surprises while I was there. Like she said, I was experiencing that imposter syndrome. I was Black. I was in my mid-30s. So everybody was up there talking like news reporters and shit. I was like, man, I'm smart. Nevertheless, even at USC, those professors and advisors were definitely supportive as well. At LACC, liberal arts and humanities, and modern political studies. That's what associate degrees I got from LACC from here. USC, I majored in political science, and then I minored in organizational leadership and management. And then third, at the Chicago School of Professional Psychology, which is where I am now, my major is industrial organizational psychology. I have about 3 more months of that, and I'll be completely finished with what might be my complete college career. I don't know if I'm gonna go for my doctorate, but we'll see. But that is my college experience in a nutshell. I will say that I did make a lot of friends. I have a lot of mentors from this college. Brenda being one of them, Armine Derogishian, Dr. Derogishian, Dr. Andriasian, even the president of the college, Dr. Gallagher. So those are some of my experiences. I'm gonna try to bore y'all too much longer. That's enough about me. We're gonna go ahead and get into how this can help y'all. So, all right, so first, let me see a show of hands, how many people are sure they want to go to college right after high school? That's a lot. All right, good for y'all. How many of y'all know what y'all want to major in? Wait, I see more hands of the majors than I do of the computers. Okay, all right. And then how many want to go to college but don't know what they want to major in? It's okay if you don't be shy. All right, so, or how many people just don't know if they even want to go to college? How about that? The reason why I ask is because if you are sure of what you want to do, you're already on the right track, right? For those who want to go to college but don't know what they want to major in, you're still on the right track. Go, take your general courses, but at the same time, there's a technique that I learned from a motivational speaker. His name is Brian Tracy, and he says to write down a list of things that you're passionate about, things that you're good at. In our grad program, they call them KSAs, knowledge, skills, and abilities. I add passions to it because I believe that you should be passionate about what you do. You should be passionate about when you go to work. So you write down a list, about 20, minimum 5. What are you knowledgeable on the most? What do you love to do? What do you love to talk about, etc. You write down a list of them things. And then out of that list, you identify the one that resonates with you the most. And then you work on that one and try to align that with the education. How can I make a career out of this? How can I align this with my educational goals? What degree aligns with this? And you'll come up with a lot, especially from that list. You never know. You might want to do a double major. You know what I mean? You might want to say, you know what, I want to go to school, but I also want to do a trade. You know, you never know what can come from it. So recognizing what your passions are, recognize what you love to do, and then associating that with both a degree and a career could go a long way. And I want to emphasize this. I'm not saying that this is going to officially make you know what you want to do, but it can help guide you in the right direction. Cost, is Brenda still here? Okay, so Brenda, you want to touch on the cost component of LACC and how this could be beneficial?
Oh, absolutely. You're going to hear more about, I'm loud, right? Yeah. I'm trying to teach James how to be loud. Yeah. So you're going to hear a lot about this at 12:30 to 1:30. That's going to be your FYE component, but if you graduate from a high school in California your senior year, you're a resident of the state of California your senior year, so all of you are graduating, right, this fall, or hopefully soon, right? When you graduate, you automatically get free tuition. Tuition is the bill that you get for taking a class, right? And the tuition is free to you, and you have to do a few things. And FYE is going to go over this at 12:30, but you need to apply, you need to do orientation. Today you're going to hear about the student ed plan. You need to complete your financial aid, your FAFSA or your DREAM Act, right? And that puts you in the category of students in California get to go for free to any community college.
What challenges do y'all think might come up in your college experience, on your college journey? Just shout them out, it's okay. Poverty.
Lack of communication.
What was it?
Lack of communication.
Lack of communication. Motivation? Exactly. You stepped on it. Something, what was it? Mental health. So, these are all actual challenges that people face every day, right? Like, on their college journey. One thing I want to share with y'all is to think about what challenges y'all think might come up for y'all, right? And then try to get ahead of the curve. So if this problem does happen while I'm in college, how will I face it? How will I address it? How will I navigate? Because, trying to figure it out in real time is way more challenging than having an idea of how you would go about it beforehand. So whatever you think that problem is, if it's money, start thinking about, okay, what am I going to do? I'll get a job. Can I get a job on campus? Will I start doing Uber? Whatever it is, or mental health. what type of therapist would I hire? What type of resources are on campus that I might be able to take advantage of, et cetera. So think about these things before you get here so that when it does happen, you already thought about it and you kind of have a plan and how to address it. All right, so you want to build relationships while you're here. Again, I already talked about it with professors and advisors. Professors are going to help you ensure that you know what your assignments entail, make sure your grades are on point. They can also become mentors, they can become friends, but they can also help you with letters of recommendation. So when you want to move on and go to another college, they'll write you a letter of rec. Or you want to get a job, you know what I mean? They can also be a reference. So that's something to think about with them. Friends. Why is it important to have friends? Go ahead, shout it out.
Networking, support.
Networking, support. Are you saying basketball? What else? What else? Opportunity. I'm surprised nobody said it. What about somebody to have, somebody to cheat off of? But seriously, you want to have friends because you want to have somebody to relate to. You know, if you're out, you're sick, you missed a day, you want to be able to call somebody and say, hey, you might share your notes, or what did I miss in class today? A professor might get on your nerves, you might want to be like, can you believe Professor blah, blah, blah is making us do this assignment, even though we already did one yesterday. So you want to have somebody to relate to too. But all these opportunities, all these reasons y'all named, networking, opportunities, just having somebody to socialize with on campus. You never know what interests they might have that may spark yours and introduce you to new things. So this is where you're going to expand. You know, it's the beginning of your college experience. So keep that in mind. This is the last part, and then we'll get into the projects. So this is the last part. Extracurricular activities. I mentioned student government, speech team. There are over 30, 40 clubs that you can join. There are also clubs that you can start. So if you wanted to start a fashion design club, you can do that. If you wanted to start, video game club, you can do that. Whatever it is, you can join these clubs, and these clubs also give you access to different opportunities as well. Studying abroad, I had a lot of friends who went to Spain, a lot of friends who actually went to Mexico, and they stayed there for about a month, sometimes 2 months at a time, and they were able to gain an experience outside of the U.S., which is awesome. And lastly, internships. If you already know what you want to do, and you know what career you want to align yourself with, try to find opportunities for internships in those, because you never know what that networking, what that opportunity can lead to in regards to networking. You might meet your future boss. You might realize, this actually isn't for me. Maybe I want to change what I thought I wanted to do. So just keep those things in mind when navigating through your college experience. If y'all made it this far, y'all can do anything, trust me. Just keep in mind that once you get to college, these are all what I call major keys. You know what I mean? So thank y'all for listening. Good luck on your journey, and I appreciate all of y'all's attention and involvement and speaking up and participation. Now for the fun part. So I'm gonna need my phone for this.
Oh.
Salinas. Hey,
That's the most recent one. Yeah.
I'm about to go through. Hey, congratulations. All right, let's go to the top. I'm not looking. Who's Brisky?
Brisk.
Brisky, my bad. Sorry. So it looks like 1, 2. I hope I pull something from over here. Alright, how about Mazza Fuentes?